Now let's go ahead and start to build the wings on the front of the vehicle. Now I call these wings, but they're kind of wing shaped, but they're going to be located here across the front of the vehicle. We're going to have 4 of them. So they're going to be fairly simple to build. Let's go ahead and start just by bringing in a polygon primitive and bring in a cylinder. Let's go ahead and bring it forward. Now most of the wing is going to be just kind of straight, so we don't need to do anything too fancy. I'll rotate that 90 degrees. And let's go ahead and scale this up. And now this is going to be kind of the front leading edge of the wing, one of the wings that we have here. And so I'm going to go ahead and dial down my subdivisions to something a little bit more manageable. And let's go ahead and look at this from the side view. Let's go and bump that down to 8. Alright, so this is kind of our profile of our wing. So now let's take basically the back end of this. So if this is the leading edge, we'll go ahead and pull this back, and we'll go ahead and scale it down a bit. And maybe even bring it up. Go ahead and bring this bottom edge up. And obviously, since this isn't anything that's actually functional, we just want it to look good, so we'll just give it a nice shape. Okay, and you can see how that, they're just giving us the profile of what we have there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of these edges right in here. And I'll, in fact, get rid of all of these faces on the inside. Alright, so we'll go ahead and scale this out. So we'll just create the first, just the straight portion of our wing here. We'll kind of bring it back into our spot where we have these kind of penetrating inside there. And we can kind of scale it down, scale the whole thing down a bit if we want to. Just get it kind of sized, and you can kind of rotate it so it's so it fits a little bit better. And just kind of scale it over. Something like a little bit more like that. And you can angle it down too if you want to. I'm gonna leave mine pretty straight. We can always change that later though. I'll kind of rotate my faces on the end, or my face on the end, just a little bit. So now at this point we need to create this kind of curve that goes up and over the wheel. So what we can do is again use our curve that we used previously, and I'll just go ahead and say create CV curve tool, and this time I'm going to draw it down from the face. I'm just going to draw over and kind of turn the corner and up like that. So something a little bit like that. I'll pull this point down to make it a little bit straighter. But that's the general idea of that. And make sure that we get our curve placed over by the face that we're going to be extruding. So I'll go ahead and bring it kind of right in there. Maybe move that whole thing up a bit. And now I'll take this face, go and take the face and shift select the curve and just do an extrude. And now we'll play with our divisions so that we can get that curve. Now you can see it's got some kind of strangeness going on there, but we can fix that up. So I'm gonna add quite a few divisions in here, and we can always take some out. I want to kind of get that shape there first. Okay, dial that down a little bit. You can also give it a little twist if you want it to kind of match it up with that guy in there. You can also take your curve and manipulate that, and that will change and give you an interactive view there. Okay. When you're done, you can go ahead and delete your history, and you can take these points here and either just move them, or you can delete that edge altogether. I'm going to just kind of move my points there. Okay. And if you want to give it a little bit of detail, you can maybe give it a little notch in there that we can continue through all of them. Just some kind of a some kind of a distinctive look to it rather than just a straight wing look. And I'll take these points on the end here and just bring them all the way inside. And I can add an edge loop in here to kind of hold that together. And I don't want that, get select edges. Don't want that edge down there selected. I'll go ahead and just select those vertices and pull those up. Okay, and this might be a little bit too narrow. Okay, so what we can do is basically just take all of these points and move them back, make that fit where we want it to fit. So we want to have basically 4, and we want them to kind of overlap, so we need to make sure that we've got enough resolution here. And we can bring this up forward. And you can smooth that out to check it, to see how that's going to look. And you can smooth this out to make sure, so you can see that it's kind of, we moved it a little bit too far. So we can come in and move that back. Because as we smooth it, it's going to lose a little bit of volume, and you can see how we've lost a little bit right up here. So I'll go ahead and move that in and pull this over. And we just want to kind of gently curve this down. We don't really create a full curve down, but we just want to create this kind of a stair-step effect. And I can kind of rotate this, and I'll just penetrate that in. Kind of a stair-step overlapping effect as these different wings come down. So then we can kind of duplicate this. Now I'm going to show you, how we want to lay this out. But it might be a good idea, since we're going to be adding some detail to this, to actually do this after. So we'll go ahead and duplicate this and just real quickly show you where we're going to put these. So you just kind of want them to be in here, kind of almost overlapping, so we can kind of twist them so that they will overlap just a little bit. Okay, and then you can come in here and twist that down like so. But before we do that, I just want to give you an idea of where these are going to go. Before we do that, we want to actually kind of add some detail to this, so that it's not just a kind of blobby wing. So let's first we'll add a little bit of detail in here. Let's go ahead and insert some edge loops along here. Instead of doing it just one at a time, let's go ahead and go into Insert Edge Loop tool, and let's insert multiple edge loops, and let's do maybe 6. Okay, and that, you can see, adds those 6 right in there. So now we've got plenty of edge loops that we can work with. So I'll turn that back to equal distant. And now I want to bring in some just some detail so that we can pull this off. So first thing I'm going to do is insert an edge loop, maybe right across here. And I also want to basically offset. I want to make an edge loop on either side of this center edge loop. So what I can do is go to Offset Edge Loop. Okay. And let me go ahead and make sure that everything's deselected. And I'm going to make sure that my settings, I want to say that set your tool completion to automatically for this one. And let me check the setting again. For some reason. Go ahead and enter tool. There we go. Didn't want to, because I closed out of that, I think. So we have that center edge now selected. We want to select those faces on either side. So what we can do is convert selection to faces. And so give us exactly what we want. So convert selection to faces. Make sure you're out of your Insert Edge Loop tool. And that will select just those faces. Then we'll do an extrude. And we'll find our tool there. And we'll go straight back into the wing. And once. And let's go one more time. Give it little bit of sharpness, create this kind of ridge along the center of our wing. And then let's also, now that we've got this face right in here, let's take this guy and also underneath, maybe right in here. And you can take it all the way around the back if you want to. You don't have to go all the way. And we'll just extrude that up and create this kind of ridge. Extrude, extrude. And then we want to sharpen this up, so we'll insert some edge loops kind of on either side. Up here, and also right across here. Okay, and now we'll see what that looks like. We smooth that, you can see that it just gives us some nice detail to kind of push that ridge in there. And this kind of detail is what's going to ground your model, so that you have these kind of specific details in certain areas that you look and you kind of think, well, if that was fake, would they really need to put that in there? Just little things like that will help. Otherwise, if we just had this kind of blob here, the shape, it would tend to look pretty CG. So the more things that you can add like that, the better it will come out, really. And if we want to really sharpen this up, we could come in and add some loops right across here. Go ahead and make that really sharp. Okay. And if you want to add any other pieces like this, you can feel free to do that. All right. So in the next lesson, we're going to come in and finish out these wings by kind of duplicating them and placing them as we looked at earlier along here. So it kind of creates this framework coming around this wheel. So we'll go ahead and finish that up in the next lesson.